Hey, greetings, friends. Jacque Howard here, and welcome to my podcast, my radio program, Trenton 365, Jacque's Reach. All of this is going to be bubbled up into this wonderful cloud, so to speak, of information that is really geared towards building a better community, encouraging civic engagement, and getting people actively involved in building the community that they want. To do that, we have to consider democracy, and we have to consider the processes of voting and the importance of voting. So, with that being said, myself and filmmaker Will Foskey have come up with an idea, and it's a website that we've been using for several years now. It's called Bridge the Vote, and you can find that on Facebook. Bridge the Vote. We hyper focus on Trenton because that's literally where we both live, but we are also concerned about nationally. How we as a country are moving forward with democracy, the importance of social justice and voting rights, and making sure that people have the access to know about their candidates, and that those candidates, when they're elected, that they are being held accountable for the statutes, ordinances, and laws that they have said that they are going to represent. That specifically brings us to the city of Trenton again. On the line with me, I'm going to bring her on in just a moment. I have South Ward Council candidate Jenna Figueroa Kettenburg. She's a friend of the program. She's always active in the community. She's been on our bike rides. She's a supporter of the arts, etc. And this is her second go round running for council in the South Ward section of Trenton, New Jersey, as current elected official George Michal will not be seeking re-election. So with that being said, I have Jenna Figueroa Kettenburg on with me. Jenna, thank you so much again for your time. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to share a bit about yourself, but also about your candidacy for a South Ward council person, and to provide folks an opportunity to get to know you from you, as opposed to what's put in newspapers or what's on social media, but literally from you as Jenna Figueroa Kettenburg. So can you just share a bit about how long, because I know, but I wanted you to share a little bit about how long you've been in Trenton, what you've been doing in Trenton, the area of Trenton that you're from, etc.
Okay. So hi, Jacque. Thank you for having me on. Your program is wonderful. So yeah, I'm a lifelong Trenton resident. I've been here my entire life. I grew up on the 500 block of Lamberton Street. That's where I was raised. I left Trenton, not really left Trenton. I went to Rutgers University, but I was home on weekends. I was home in the winters. I was home in the summers. I secured my career here in 2004, January 2004. I purchased my home here 11 years ago on the 600 block of Lamberton. So South Trenton is my home, my heart. South Trenton is pretty much, well, all of Trenton is what pretty much makes me the woman that I am today, because I feel like my strength, a lot of my strength comes in my upbringing, comes in just, my surroundings and challenges that were faced. I mean, we were below poverty level. So I believe that I had some opportunities, in middle school, junior, in high school and things like that many kids may not have today, that helped shape me. I got to go on excursions outside of the city of Trenton, outside of New Jersey, to meet other kids, to participate in activities that are not huge here in the city, like singing opera in Princeton and, playing a lot of sports and things like that. And, I just feel like, if you have an opportunity to look outside the box, if you already don't have it in your mind that, you can be whoever you want and you can do better regardless of your upbringing and your surroundings, those things definitely assisted, in my knowing that there's more to the world than what we see around us, to the left, to the right, to the front, and to the back. And saying that is also saying that it took me to run in the last election to really learn how great my fellow Trentonians are. Because I didn't even, I wasn't fully aware. I wasn't engaged. And there are some amazing, amazing people in this city that do such great things. And I'm just happy to be a part of what anybody is doing.
Mhm.
positive.
Thank you for saying that. And
Hmm.
so the folks understand, like you're a lifelong Trentonian. You went to college at Rutgers University. After
Hmm.
securing your degree, you came back home, and
Yep.
you came back literally home. Like you bought a
Hmm.
property a block
Yep.
away from where you grew up.
Yes.
You're open about your upbringing and
Yeah.
poverty and some of the non-traditional examples of what you had to go through, but you felt that there was opportunity and you had
Hmm.
opportunities to travel and get exposure outside of the city. You have a experience in art, obviously singing opera, and then playing sports as well. So I would say that all those things combined from a high level would say that you see a community. It's
Right.
not just you. It's not just your family. It's much bigger than that. Can you elaborate on the idea of your version of community?
So my strengths are not the same as your strengths. Your strengths are not the same as your neighbor's strengths. So if we the sooner we understand that about ourselves, the sooner we could capitalize on what our strengths are and come together and work with one another. Once we stop taking the I out of things and make it become we, we are more unified as a community, and we can all take ownership for the positive outcomes that will be coming, the forward movement in the city. So um, for me, Trenton is this melting pot. Trenton is this Trenton speaks diversity to me. Nothing bothers me more than the ideation of segregation here in the city. You know, one community, another community, the Latino community, the white community, the Black community, that is frustrating to me on many fronts because I like to see myself engaged with everybody because I grew up with everybody, I didn't veer away from Trenton Public Schools because I lived in the city of Trenton. My parents didn't say, "Oh, we're not going to send you to Trenton schools because we don't want you to be around these people." You know what I'm saying? So I grew up elementary, junior high, Trenton Central High School, um, immersed in my community. Um, so if we can't learn to again capitalize on what our strengths are and understand what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, then we're not going to be able to accomplish um, the greater things that are um, so uh, can be so easily attained if we just learn to work together and to recognize one another's worth.
Mhm. I'm speaking with Jenna Figueroa Kettenberg, who is the South Board candidate for Trenton City Council. Elections this year are in November of 2022, not in May. It's been changed. And this year in May, we have full elections, which is for all of council and mayor. So we could have 8 new people in office. Um, Without going down the rabbit hole of where we currently are, I'd like for you to address just from your perspective and your campaign's message the functionality of the government that we have seen in this current administration, and why would things be different if you are elected as a South Ward council member?
Okay. First of all, things are not going to be different if I am elected to South Ward Council unless the people are paying attention to all the candidates running in the city. Okay. We all get to vote for 3 at-large people, and we need at least 4 people to be on board with something positive or something that needs to get done, a demolition project, the funding, whatever it may be, an ordinance for speed bumps or 4-way stops or resolutions. We need at least 4 people on council to be able to make that determination to make these things go forward. As we see now, we don't have that. We've had a split council, and we've had a council that basically, in my perspective, in my view of things, has done anything and everything just to block the administration from, putting things forward that would be beneficial to the city. And again, in my opinion, in just an attempt to outshine the mayor, or an attempt to say that the mayor's not doing his job and he's unequipped to do his job and he hasn't done anything, or he hasn't accomplished anything in his tenure. That's unequivocally untrue. Had council been able to literally put their egos aside and just stick with the facts of what's being presented and how it's going to benefit the people that elected them, the people that they say that they're working for, the people who are paying taxes, that are paying, again, minimal salaries, but their salaries, the people who are counting on them, then we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in right now. So we need to pay attention to all the candidates who are running, and vote not for your friends, vote not for your family, vote not for the person that you grew up with, that you've known forever, but you don't know if they'll be great, but that's the case. No, vote for the people that are speaking out, that are speaking in solidarity, just regarding the bigger issues that are going to benefit all of us here in the city.
Great. Good points. There's been a lot of, over the last few administrations, I think that there's been a lot of focus on issues that have been traditional issues, very similar to issues that other post-industrial cities, urban cities like Trenton, other ones that come to mind, Camden, Jersey City, Elizabeth Patterson, etc. So crime and safety is often an issue.
Yes.
Taxes and rateables and bringing businesses in, and then also the public schools, etc. Council's position is to look at the budget and to focus on the budget and making sure the budget is a process. The last few administrations, it appears publicly that the focus has been away from the budgetary process and more focused on more exciting things, we'll call them, or more front page news types of things. Can you just speak to that from your own perspective?
Right. So the job of city council is, as you said, to review the budget, to make sure that funding is allocated appropriately, to make sure you're reading the fine lines as to what this money is going to be used for, what is the need, how will it be used, where are they getting their request in that budget from? That is our job, to make sure that the different departments are funded appropriately, so they have enough employees to serve the communities, to make sure that other resources that are needed, school programs and things like that are definitely represented effectively, and not inappropriately. So all that other rigmarole that goes on with council, it's not helping anybody or any one thing. We need to focus on what is going to bring the revenue into the city. We need to focus on getting rid of these properties that are vacant and falling apart, and making sure that we are allowing new investors to come into the city. We need to stop lowballing investors that want to come into the city, and allow the city to flourish and to grow. If we're not doing those things, and we are questioning everything, and we're constantly spending money on lawsuits that are, quite frankly, a bunch of BS, and that's our money, then how are we supposed to flourish? It really just makes zero sense. And wasting our time in protecting the city clerks who weren't doing their job, and were doing quite egregious acts, and protecting individuals like that, paying their legal fees. It's unbelievable. And, but then when something comes to the table that is necessary, or is going to be very positive, or is going to push us in the right direction, you want to table it, or a no vote, or shut it down. I mean, it's just a matter of make it make sense.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for
Mm-hmm.
that. Now, of course, these 30-minute segments, they go very quickly because we got
Right.
bills to pay over at the radio and television stations. So I hope that you'll be able to come back as we get closer to the time
Mm-hmm.
of the election, so that you can share some other thoughts. And if something comes up during that period of time in the community, in the news, etc., that you'll be willing to speak and share your opinions with it, so that people in the audiences of Bridge to Vote will get a chance to get to know Jenna Figueroa Kettenburg
That'd be
better.
awesome.
Uh, there's a couple other things I want to make sure that I
Sure.
get through, so I'm going to try to rip through them really quickly.
No problem.
I think you did a good job of covering the bureaucracy that is currently taking place. Um, I'd like for you to briefly talk to in general, how are you going to handle those situations when the bureaucracy comes up, when and if you are elected for South Ward?
So, some people may know this, other people may not. I have 19 years experience as an investigator. You know, my bachelor's degree is in administration of justice. My master's is in criminal justice. I worked 19 years in the capacity of an investigator, and right now I am the supervisor of investigations / assistant director of investigations. I just left the public defender's office, and now I'm with DCF doing. I'm running the unit where we investigate DCPP workers. Having said that, my experience in being unbiased, my experience in fact finding, my experience in interviewing people and understanding where people are coming from, understanding perspectives, being able to do research, all of that experience will keep me honest and will keep me doing what's right for the city of Trenton and asking the right questions. I don't care who is putting an ordinance forward, who's putting a resolution forward. I don't care how I feel about that person personally off the dais. When we're working on the dais together, we are doing things for the city. That's all that matters. What matters is the people. So, and for me, running in the South, I feel like I have to be able to work with everybody on that dais. Because we're only as strong as our wards. The city as a whole is only as strong as all 4 of its wards.
Yeah, as I do these, there are semblances of everyone saying the same thing, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
good to hear that, because most of us who are Trentonians kind of have that same gumption in us, that
Mm-hmm.
revolutionary mindset that we're going to get this done, we can do this.
Right.
And I'm excited and I'm looking forward to when we all come together collectively and
Mm-hmm.
make that happen. And I
Right.
hope that what I'm doing here is able to help you all who are running for office and those
Absolutely.
who get elected provide an opportunity as well.
Absolutely. Well,
Um,
just really quickly, like for the city of Trenton, we're trained that way. If you're born and raised here, you are trained that you grow, you start off in where you live, in your ward, your district, your section. Then you go to one junior high school in one part of the city, in your ward. So you start in your district, then you go in your ward, and then you're with everybody. So we're designed that way that at some point we all come together.
mm,
At some point we're all together, and that's how you have to make it work. You have to learn to get along with one another, and you have to learn to just focus and do what you're there to do.
Good points. Good points.
Mm-hmm.
So Trenton has lots of nonprofit organizations,
Right.
and I've been a part of several of them. I'm a part of some of them now, and the nonprofit sector is really a strong backbone for the city of Trenton. And the nonprofits, I'll include the faith communities as well. Specifically, I want to talk about the Trenton 250 Master Plan,
Mm-hmm.
and also the Complete Streets Ordinance, which basically provides safe streets for everybody who lives in Trenton to get around. Have you spent time looking at the Trenton 250 master plan or comprehensive plan? And what are your thoughts about our current streets situations, not just potholes, but the way people drive, etc.?
So as far as the Trenton 250 plan, I haven't really given it a whole lot of research at this point. I'll be honest. So I will be prepared the next time I talk to you. But as far as the streets master plan, I mean, I think it's something that's definitely necessary here in the city of Trenton. Aside from potholes, we need lights and stop signs at intersections. We need speed bumps, on different streets. One of the things that I'm learning going house to house, knocking on doors, because every last one of my petitions that were certified like a month ago, I knocked on doors. I didn't go to events and throw my petitions on the table, and just no, I knocked on doors and I talked to people. And one of the biggest problems that came up over and over again, more than anything else, is the speeding down the streets.
Hmm.
Speeding down the streets, not having four-way stops. Literally, like that's it. We need speed bumps, or we need more stop signs, or we need, more regulation, more traffic regulation on our streets. And it's something that I was hearing when I ran last time. And, without cohesion on council, when these ordinances come before them, these things are not getting done, and these things can easily be done. This is public safety. Our residents deserve public safety. There's so many things, so many elements in the city of Trenton that are a danger to the public, that we don't need minor things that can be easily fixed to be amongst them. So then we can focus on the more trivial aspects, that are a threat to our communities.
Mhm.
So
Fantastic. I will make sure that I share anything I have about complete streets
awesome.
and Trenton 250 master plan. In fact,
Yes.
as the president of Trenton Cycling Revolution, I would like to get you a questionnaire from
Okay.
us that we're submitting to folks who are running, just to
Okay.
let them know our thoughts about, from a biking and pedestrian advocacies organization's perspective, what we think of the city and as residents as well. In the last couple of minutes, I'd like for you
Mhm.
to take some time and speak specifically to residents who are here. Maybe some of those folks who are disenfranchised. They want to get out of Trenton. They only see the lack of what we have, not necessarily the potential, and then make a pitch for them to, if they live in the South Ward, to vote for you, please.
Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is, there's a taboo around voting anymore. People don't want to vote. People don't think their votes count. People don't think that, voting is going to change anything, do anything. People just believe the system is all corrupt regardless. We need to get out of that mindset. We need to come together and understand that, yes, your vote does matter. Speaking about civic engagement, speaking about the political process with friends and family, those things can help spread ideas, can encourage critical thinking that you can present to the people who want to lead our city and make it better for everybody. So we need to focus on that. One of the things for me when I was getting petitions, when I had turned my petitions in, quite a number of them were kicked back, and I knew that my people were all registered and they signed in front of me, and they were kicked back because the signature didn't look right or something like that. So I questioned it. And the reason why I questioned it, I told the clerk, I said, listen, this is fine. If you don't think that their signatures match or there's any other issue, let me know. Let me go back to these people with new voter registration forms so that they can update their signature, so they can update their address. If they're convicts and they did not register again once they were released, I could let them know, here's your new voter registration. Let's do this. But for the people, like I said earlier, on top of it, don't look at it as a civic duty. Look at it as your right. It is your right to vote. It is your right to choose the people who lead this city. It is your right to hold them accountable. Okay. And it's your right to make sure that they are being transparent. And if they're not, then, don't get behind them and don't support them. Just please pay attention to who is running, pay attention to educational perspective and the candidates, pay attention to willingness to serve, pay attention to candidates that are not motivated by ego, and this is not a stepping stone to something else for them, that this is their here and now, and they're just trying to do this to get the city back on track. Which is why, with everything on my plate right now, That is my primary goal, is to help get this city back on track so that we can start getting the respect we deserve as the capital city. You
Mm,
know, so
great, great. And now my final point.
sure.
In your wonderful utopia world,
Mm.
you are elected, you are the South Ward City Council representative. Um, what would be some of the things, at least right now, we know that it could change once you realize or you get into office. What are let's say two things that are at the forefront of what you will be focusing on and taking up if you are elected as South Ward representative for City Council?
I want to demand a better policing community. I want to definitely get better engagement from our officers and from our people. We live in a society where the police are afraid of the people and the people are afraid of the police. That just honestly establishes poor policing, poor, you know, a lack of respect, a whole lot of that. So I want to get to a point where we can establish in our budget monies that we know are going to go towards programs, because we know we don't really have the money to hire new officers. It's very difficult. They're trickling in and then they're leaving. They're coming on board at Trenton and they're transferring out. And a lot of our officers don't live in the city. They don't have that sense of community where they know their neighbors, or their neighbors see them all the time. So there's that. We don't have the sense of officers like literally patrolling around where they're not scowling, and where the people can wave to them, or they can wave to the people, hey, what's up, or where the people can just feel safe because there's a police presence. So we need to do better with that. We really need to. There's not one answer to that, but it's something that we definitely need to work toward. Other municipalities, other municipalities around Trenton, they don't function the same way that we do, and there's a reason why. So we need to also be studying what other municipalities, other cities do to make their communities better, so that we can apply those same factors. So that's one thing, and another thing that is very, very important to me, and it's not something that a lot of people are happy with, but I want to hold homeowners accountable for their properties, and this is slumlords, as well as just people in the community, and whether that means that a homeowner needs to put a clause in their leasing agreement that their tenant is responsible to put the garbage out when they're supposed to put the garbage out, and bring it back in if it didn't get picked up. Call the number if they didn't pick it up and get it. If the building's not up to code, they have to fix it. Things of that nature. But in order to do that, we also need to make sure we have an amount of inspectors in the city that can serve the city in that capacity. So, those things are important. So, but with that, it's going to develop a sense of care and pride for your community, for your home, for your saving your safe space, so to speak. And it's going to bring revenue into the city. If you're slapped with an ordinance, you have to pay. Granted, ordinances and fines are not always collectible. I understand that. But, for some people, if you are held accountable, you're going to learn the lesson, and you're going to start to take things more seriously. We need more pride in our city. We definitely do. So those are two, I'd say.
Awesome. Jenna
Mhm.
Figueroa Kettenberg, thank you so much for a couple of minutes of
Absolutely.
your time for Bridge the Vote. We look forward to chatting in the near future about your candidacy for Trenton City Council Representative of the South Ward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take
You're
care.
welcome.
Bye.
And there you have it, folks. Another conversation with another human being who's doing some awesome things in the city of Trenton and in this region. Be sure that you reach out. Let me know how I can assist you with finding out more information about the candidates via Bridge the Vote. Jacque Howard here. Remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.